SCCA's National Championship Runoffs has long been a launching pad to professional careers for some, an annual pilgrimage for many, and a bucket list event just to compete in for all. This weekend, it is also a test extraordinaire, as for the contenders, Sonoma Raceway awaits.
Welcome to Sunsplashed Sonoma Raceway, as we are set to crown another champion at the 2018 SCCA National Championship Runoffs. In less than an hour, a new champion will be crowned in American Sedan, which is a tremendous class. 12 entries on hand to fight to the finish here in a matter of moments. Hello, everyone. I'm Ryan Marine. Andy Hollis, a 13-time SCCA Autocross champion and 2-time World Challenge Championship engineer, joins me. 2-time World Challenge Championship driver Tom O'Gorman will be joining us from pit lane. I'll tell you what, if you like pony cars, if you yearn for the days of Trans Am of days gone by, this is the class for you. American Sedan, Andy, it is a remarkable class with some really cool cars and great stories throughout the field.
I can't agree with you more. To me, I liken this to the heavyweight fights of old of Ali Frazier. We're going to have Andy McDermott and John Hironsey just beating each other up the entire time, and I cannot wait to see how this unfolds for us.
Two names we'll be talking about a great deal throughout the broadcast, but another name that we need to bring into the broadcast now is Tom O'Gorman, and he's down trackside.
Yeah, Ryan, we're talking about these two drivers, this Mustang of Andy McDermott and that Camaro of John Hironsey, nearly 24 championships between those drivers. But these cars are going to be a blast to watch. Over 3,000 pounds, over 500 horsepower in some of these cars, but almost no brakes and not a lot of rear tire down here. So this is going to be like the Saturday Night Lights out here. These are the bucking Broncos of Club Racing.
Awesome stuff, Tom. Thank you very much. Looking nice in the shades as well. Stay cool down there. It's 82 degrees here in Northern California. Really no wind to speak of, no humidity, just gorgeous conditions for racing and beautiful scenery as well. Gorgeous track. Amazingly, this is the first time that Sonoma Raceway has hosted the SCCA Runoffs in its 50-year history, 55th year for the Runoffs. And just the second time in the last half-century that it's been out here on the West Coast. And early returns have been very positive. Drivers love it, and I think it should be a showcase track for this class. We expect a knockdown, drag-out fight to the checkered flag all throughout the field, but especially up front.
I agree with you. I mean, it's an amazing track. This is my first time at this track, and I could not believe when I stood at the bottom of Turn 1 and looked up at Turn 2, 100 feet climb there. It's twice as tall as the main grandstand here. Just an incredible thing. And we got a chance to earlier to do some laps around it in a rental car, and the amount of elevation change. What's really key here, though, is that there aren't great natural passing zones. More of the passing happens when the guy in front of you makes a mistake. But when you've got guys like McDermott and Hironsey up front, they don't tend to make mistakes. But here's a really cool stat. 13 of the last 16 years, either Andy McDermott or John Hironsey have won this class. That is amazing dominance and ownership between the two of them. Last year, Hironsey was second to Brian Long by 0.3, and the only reason why McDermott wasn't there was he had wrecked hard in practice. Took the car home, rebuilt it completely, even took it to a local track for a test day to shake it down, brought it back, but unfortunately his day was cut short earlier on, so he was never really able to contend. So this is the battle that we thought we were going to have last year at Indy, and instead we've got it here at this wonderful Sonoma Raceway.
And no surprise, it is Hironsey and McDermott who control the front row, and it was a very tight 3 days of qualifying. After 3 sessions of qualifying, just 2/1000ths of a second separating the top two. That's why we expect this to be such a good fight to the end. Throw in the fact that these two have championship pedigrees. Hironsey with 5 national titles, 8 for Andy McDermott in this AS class. Throughout the history of the Runoffs, 2 guys with tons of experience to draw from, and 2 pretty fast race cars underneath them too.
I agree, and as Tom alluded to in the paddock there, what's really interesting here is with the temperatures as they are and all the power in these cars, keeping those rear tires on the ground is going to be key to this, because you've got the power, you want to use it, you want to get into it, but at the same time, every time you dip into that tire grip bank account, you're withdrawing a little bit more of that grip, and with all of that power, it's so easy to take out too much too soon in the race. So tire management is going to be something we're going to talk about throughout this race, and we're going to watch it visually as these cars crest these hills and these blind turns.
Track records at Sonoma for the various classes, they've been falling all week long, and we expect that to be the case here too, because the existing track record is a 151. We saw McDermott, your pole sitter, under 149 in all 3 of his qualifying sessions, including his pole lap, which came in the first day of qualifying, 147.782. Conditions change day to day. The track has been run on all day long, so there's that to keep in mind. But I think if you're interested in making a wager at home, to bet against a new track record would be probably pretty foolish, considering what the top 5 cars, top 5 cars have all run under track record pace, actually make it the top 6.
Right, I agree with you there. One of the other things when we talk about this particular track, drivers who don't come out here all the time, when they came here, one of the comments they all made was, hey, this is kind of a medium to low grip surface. And when you go out and look at the surface itself, in fact, if you look at the sheen on it right now with that shot that's in front of you, it's a very polished surface. It's been run on quite a bit by a variety of racing series here. And as a result, tires cannot, even these grippy racing tires, cannot really grab onto the surface. They tend to just slide a little bit across it every time you load them up. And that sliding creates heat. And heat is the enemy of grip. And given that it's in the mid-80s out there, that isn't helping anything. So it's going to be very, very interesting to watch these very experienced and very talented drivers able to dance these monstrous cars up through these twisty bits.
And trying to keep the tires under them for 20 laps or 40 minutes, whichever comes first. That's the duration of our race today. And when you're talking about cars like Mustangs and Camaros and Cadillac CTS-Vs and Pontiac Firebirds, I mean, we're talking about cars with some big-time oomph when they put the power down. So managing that, the rear grip in particular, I have to believe, is going to be a real challenge.
It totally is. It totally is. And, you know, the other part is that so many of these turns, right past the apex is a crest of a hill. And so as you go cresting that hill, the car gets light. Which also helps unload those tires, creates a wheel spin situation. You notice that quite a bit. I was standing there on that bridge that's in your picture right now here the first day and watching these guys crest. They're on the power through the apex, but the car gets light. The rear starts dancing around. Same thing cresting the hill at 3A that we'll see them come up to here shortly. And there is the Trans Am pace car, which is a car that could run in this class, actually, if they were to class that thing. So it's quite apropos that it's leading the way around the turn. This is down into turn 4 right now, which is blind on entry because of that big hill to the right, and then the track moves gently to the right. This turn, a lot of different lines through here. This is turn 5 as we crest, and then we go downhill into the carousel, turn 6.
One of the more interesting parts of the track, several different ways of approaching corner entry, and critical because it leads to a big-time passing zone in 7.
That's right, and you watch it here as the drivers drive downhill here. It goes into compression. It's bowled a little bit to the inside. Drivers will start to roll power at this point. They'll track way out to the right. As you see, well, none of anybody's doing it right now because they're trying to warm their tires up. And then this is the end of the drag strip. It's an uphill run. You veer off to the left there, and you have a great big 180. The interesting thing about this 180 is it's unsighted. There's a crest of a hill right there, so you cannot actually see the apex of the turn when you're trying to brake. A lot of drivers have run during practice, have run too deep here. You'll see some skid marks way out on the outside pavement there. And it's also a cool zone where one driver can drive an inside line and the other driver can do the over-under and create another passing opportunity there.
It leads into a very fast technical portion that we'll refer to as the S's. That's 8, 8A, 9, 9A, and 10. And then into the hairpin of turn number 11, the last good passing opportunity on a given lap. You can see 12 cars right now behind the Trans Am 455 Super Duty pace car, official pace car of these 2018 SCCA National Championship runoffs. Let's quickly run through the field on pole. Your Tire Rack Pole Award winner, Andrew McDermott, will start from P1. John Heinrichsey in P2. We expect a great battle from them throughout the race. Drew Cattell and Daniel Richardson in row number 2. Kevin Fandozzi and Pratt Cole in row 3. Christopher Qualls and Jim Wheeler make up row 4. Row 5, Lynn Griffiths and Allison Pallitz. And then row number 6, Michael Thompson and Andy Schneidermeyer rounding out the field. Lights off on that Trans Am pace car. Field under the control now of the pole sitter, Andrew McDermott. Keep an eye on that white Ford Mustang to the left of the screen. John Heinrichsey in the Camaro to the outside, 2 by 2, just like Noah's Ark, coming out of turn number 12 to the green flag. Field in alignment, the green waves, and we are racing. Big jump from the second row. Heinrichsey kicked out wide, and we've got trouble before we even reach the uphill climb. Every driver able to keep it off the wall, and we stay green. Among those involved was Christopher Qualls, who qualified in the 7th position. He was one of the ones that went spinning, and I'm sure we'll catch the other one on a replay. But meanwhile, Andrew McDermott able to pull away here off the start. And how about Drew Cattell able to jump to the 2nd position, putting Heinrichsey on his back heels here early going back into 3rd.
Yeah, no doubt. McDermott got a really great jump going around from that inside line. The drivers who are on the pole get the choice of line. He chose that inside line, and you could see as he crossed the stripe, he was well in front of Heinrichsey, and then the 3rd place car just followed him right through.
Drew Cattell in that Cadillac CTSV stalking your race leader, Andrew McDermott. McDermott qualified at a 147.7, Cattell at a 148 flat. And he's found the pace here in the early going, putting the pressure on the back of that Mustang through the hairpin turn number 7. Unable to do anything with it, and right into the frame now. Here comes Heinrichsey. He's ready to get back in the picture.
No doubt. Although, again, if you press a little too hard, a little too soon, remember, these are long races, 20 laps. These drivers have only done sessions at most of 20 minutes earlier this week. So they have not yet experienced, those who are not familiar with coming here often, have not yet experienced what's going to happen through an entire race of 20 laps.
Whoa, big slide there coming out of turn number 10. As McDermott had his hands full, might have dropped the left rear off of the curbing just a little bit, but able to reel it back in. That, though, allows Cattell to close in. It allows Heinrichsey to get a little bit closer. The top 3 all within shouting distance, and 4th place not too much further back as we cross the line. What a wild opening lap here in American Sedan.
And you betcha. And look at, we've got Ford represented, we've got Cadillac represented, we've got Chevrolet represented, all in the top 3, all different manufacturers. Waving yellows there as we've got the emergency vehicles going through and trying to collect up the damaged cars from that first lap incident.
Oh, there's the contact there between the 93. Oh, there was a little bit of contact between the 2 cars after all. Missed the number on the other car. Did you happen to catch that?
I did not.
So we'll see if we can grab that at some point. But looks like might be a little bit of damage. I think that Fandozzi might be the other party involved. Kevin Fandozzi out of St. Joseph, Michigan, might have been the other one there involved in the contact. We'll try and confirm that a little bit later. But right now up front, we see McDermott able to pull away just a little bit. Had a half-second lead at the stripe. That appears to have grown, and further back, let's give a shout to Daniel Richardson, who's definitely on the move. He's putting a lot of pressure on your outside pole sitter, John Heinrichsey. Coming up into the fray in that Chevrolet Camaro, Daniel Richardson from Maryland. A long trip out here, and we've seen throughout the week that local knowledge has been a major benefit. A lot of Californians in the field throughout our various classes at the 2018 runoffs, and those with local track knowledge have benefited from it, but we've seen some interlopers break through.
We have, although in this particular grouping, we don't really have any of those folks. Everybody here from out of state, although I will say that I'm told that McDermott took the most additional practice laps. He ran every single session, every single test session, every chance he could get, he was on this track.
And that's crucial at a track like this. It's not an easy one to learn. There's various things you can do with simulators and things like that, but the track surface and the elevation change in particular are very hard to replicate.
And the other thing that's hard to replicate is these conditions. This is as hot as it's been all week, and you're going to be out there as long as you have been, longer than you have been all week. Interestingly, notice that we were just running, we are not full course yellow. We have a standing yellow only in one turn. And that is one of the great things about SCCA competition. Those corner workers that are out there, they're letting the drivers know that there's danger in the corner in front, and all they have to do under a waving yellow is just back off, no passing until they get a green into the next corner, and then to continue the race.
And that would not be possible without the commitment of the track workers, many of whom are volunteers and spending a lot of time out here helping out, keeping the race going, and doing so at some risk as well. That can't be overlooked. Takes a great deal of bravery to strap into one of these race cars, but same can be said for the corner working crew.
It really does, and drivers will call them their angels. As we have a couple of cars off here.
One of which is the number 16 machine, Michael Thompson. And I'm not sure the red car that's involved.
Here we go, down the hill
replay.
Into 4. Probably a little touch into the back. No.
Looks like Thompson drops the wheel off and nowhere to go. Allison Paywitz, really the wrong place, wrong time. Not much more that can be said about that. Heavy contact into the tires and really just nowhere to go. Meanwhile, up front, the battle tightening up.
It sure is. I'm watching this. Oh, and McDermott getting a little loose there as he rolls power early. He can feel the heat now, the CTSV. Remember we talked about pre-show. So often the pass is not where there's a traditional passing zone. It's where the guy in front of you gets pressured into making a mistake. And oh, look at McDermott having trouble right there through turn 1. And if you've been here before, it's bumpy right there. As you come through there, and you'll see some difference in variation of the pavement there. That's because it's been patched, but there's definitely bumps right through there, and he was all over the place.
McDermott able to pull away just a little bit, coming around to complete lap 3 a few moments ago. So 3 laps in the book, 17 to go. The lead pretty stable at about a half second the last few times by. Drew Cattell, though, giving this Cadillac CTSV a great run. He's from Ferndale, Michigan. Competed in the runoffs last year in this class, was running second in position for that silver medal when he had a mechanical issue and ultimately dropped down to 23rd. So unfinished business for the Michigander, and right now you can see very strong through that carousel section. We've seen that the last few laps, able to close in.
Right, and in fact, he's also very quick accelerating. Boy, so much brake lock up there from McDermott. Into 7 there, really working the brakes, getting loose again. He is feeling the heat, there is no doubt about it. But watch the caddy pull up as they get into the more open sections of this. He's got the motor. The Mustang definitely looking like it's a little better under braking, even though he is locking things up. Very, very traditional cars here. Some of them even running carburetors. All of that, fairly restricted on the parts that they can do. On these cars. They're very similar to what the original B production cars were many, many years ago, and then later Trans Am cars in the early days of those, that what I like to call the golden years.
McDermott, you saw him going wide once again off of turn number 10. He's done that a couple of times, and wide there on the exit of 11 too, while the battle for second heats up. Here comes Heinrichs.
That's right.
Wasn't in the picture that long ago.
No, and you could see that he had lost it. The Cadillac lost a little bit there in 11, and then Heinrichs back up on him now. Now he's going to feel the heat, which will slow him down on his move to the front, because now he's going to have to be watching his mirrors, drive defensive line.
Whoa! Oh, we lost
a
wheel.
Oh my goodness.
That's your race leader.
That is McDermott with a wheel coming off. Must have had a failure of a hub. Oh, and the hands go up in the air. Look at that. What frustration. What a way to end your drive to the front. That may explain what we saw earlier on with the car moving around like it was. Perhaps a suspension component was already under distress. Let's watch the replay. He turns in. Oh, yeah, that wheel's pointed the wrong direction already. Just as he turns in, it comes off.
That is a scary, scary sensation.
It sure is.
And fortunate not to make any meaningful contact with anything, just sliding to a halt about 5 feet shy of that tire barrier, but what a shame.
And we are now full course yellow to get that car out of there, where we were able to do a hot pull on the opening lap. Schlemazel, if you will. We are not going to be able to get McDermott out of there. So looking like Drew Cattell in the Cadillac inheriting the lead, as McDermott just flabbergasted on what happened there, now trying to figure out how to get back across the wall to a point of safety.
So one of the heavy hitters goes by the wayside early. We are just 4 laps into this race, and McDermott will be forced to be a spectator the rest of the way.
But what's interesting is that here where we were talking so much about McDermott versus Heinrichs, Kittel really making a move on it, and he was the one actually pressuring McDermott much more. So at this point, under yellow, he is just continuing on. And we will bring the field back together here shortly.
So from a driving perspective, then, Andy, here you are under yellow, a chance to kind of recalibrate a little bit behind the wheel,
sure.
and also bring the temperature down in the components and things of that nature.
Well, that's the big thing you want to do here is, they're going to send the safety car out. You're going to collect the field back up, which means everybody's going to be back together. But more importantly, as we talked pre-show, tire management is going to be critical. So in a way, it's a blessing in disguise for the guys at the front. They're going to be able to back off a little bit now and cool the tires down. The motors will cool down, because that's the other thing that happens here is these motors get really hot. Man, look at that flying tire. Just about came down on the top of McDermott's car there. Good thing it did not. But all the safety equipment did its job.
That shot says it all, doesn't it?
It does. McDermott just looking at the car and is like shaking his head. I mean, this was going to be another one in his bank account, but unfortunately not able to do it. As Kittel is still waiting for the rest of the field to catch up to him.
And including the pace car.
Including the pace car, yeah.
So it looks like that should be rectified here relatively soon. I saw the pace car in that shot just a few moments ago. But with McDermott dropping out, that is 8 of the last 16 national championships in this class sitting on the outside looking in now. John Heinrichs has 5 of the last 16. Those two have been the dominant players in American Sedan over nearly the last 2 decades. But you certainly can't overlook Kittel, and if you paid attention in Indianapolis last year, he was one that, didn't get the result he was looking for, but you knew he was there.
That's right.
And he's got a chance for a little bit of redemption here.
Right, and now, at least provisionally, we've got Richardson up there on the podium, and he was only 21 thousandths in qualifying off of Kittel, so he can definitely run the lap times that he needs to be right up there, and this full course yellow is going to bunch the field right back up, so we're going to get a really cool restart. Hopefully none of the same action we had on the first lap in turn 1, but it will make the racing a lot closer as the field gets pulled back together.
If you're just joining us, we did have 2 cars make contact at the very start of this race and effectively sidelined their day. The big mover at the start was your current race leader, Kittel, able to jump from the 3rd starting position to 2nd. Heinrichs, who started on the outside of the front row, dropped back to 3rd. And McDermott, who was leading until just a few moments ago when the mechanical issue appeared to end his day with the tire and wheel leaving that Ford Mustang when it was certainly not supposed to. That has promoted now Kittel to the race lead. Heinrichs 2nd. Richardson, a veteran in his own right, running in the 3rd spot. He's a native of Massachusetts. He's made 7 previous runoffs appearances, all in this class. His best finish was 4th in 2011. He started 15th that year at Road America. Also in 2016 and 17 at Mid-Ohio and Indianapolis, respectively, 4th place finishes for Richardson there, and looking to break through for that podium for the first time in American Sedan here in Runoffs competition.
2 other little notes for us. One, during all of that action, we did set a new lap record, and I suspect it will get lower even still. But Heinrichs at 150.345, the new lap record here for a sedan. Kittel right there as well at a 150.372. So we would expect that lap to get lower as we go through. The other thing to notice, the field needed to get collected. Heinrichs, being the wily veteran that he was, he anticipated that full course yellow, and he backed off half a lap before Kittel did. So he was able to cool his tires an extra whole half a lap, where Kittel ran another 3, 4, 5 turns with full load on it. So Heinrichs is actually going to have a little smidge more tire here on this restart. Very, very smart driving there. He's been doing this a long time in a variety of classes. He knows what these cars need and what these tires need. And so that's a very clever move there from Mr. Heinrichs.
Half a lap may not sound like a whole lot, but when the margins are this tight, as competitive as this class is, every little bit counts.
That's
and
right.
we've heard a lot of different drivers throughout the week talking about, all right, maybe the tires, if they cool down, it might not help in necessarily an immediate performance, but what it does do is if you back off like we saw Heinrichs do, it means you're not burning through the tires.
That's right.
And you have more in reserve at the end of the race.
That's right. You know, I like to use the analogy that it's a bank account,
Right.
and you can pull the money out of it anytime you want. The faster you pull it out, the less money is actually in there, and certainly the sooner you pull it out, the sooner it all goes away. So Heinrichs leaving a few extra, I call them quarters, in his bank account, and we'll see how that plays out here on this particular restart.
Well, Detroit muscle certainly well represented in this class. You look through this field, and if you love just awesome sounding race cars, cars that sound like a race car should, look in many cases like a race car should, you could see them going through the corners. You can see the transition, the weight shift as they make their way around. This is just a fantastic class to watch as the lights have gone out on the safety car, and we should be going back to green here in just a matter of corners.
Yeah, not all of these cars are that new. You saw there at the tail end of that shot a pair of 1987 vintage cars. We have the Michael Thompson's Chevy Camaro and Allison Pallett's Ford Mustang.
14 to go. It'll be 13 this time around. Here comes the race leader coming to the restart. It is Kittel at the front of the field in that black Cadillac. Heinrichs right behind him in second. Lagging back a little bit in third is Richardson trying to get a run. We've already got cars darting this way and that, and a big mover there on the outside. I think that's going to be Cole in the number 88 machine. We got side-by-side racing up through the field. The front two are clear of it. Cole right now to the inside of Richardson. That pass did occur before start-finish. Is that all well and good?
I'm not so sure about that. We'll see how the stewards look at that.
I'm told if the green was waving, the move is good. All I can say for sure is that on timing and scoring, the move was made because it switched on our screens as they came to the line. So we'll wait and see. I'm sure the stewards will take a good close look at that. Let's go down to the pit lane. Tom O'Gorman has more.
Yeah, I just talked to some of John Heinrichs' crew during the full course caution. They said the only note from that Camaro is that the brake lights on the Cadillac seem to always be on, so he doesn't have any idea when Drew Kittel is braking.
Wow, interesting stuff. That is an important reference point for the trailing driver, and if you don't have that, it's very difficult to time your own maneuvers.
No doubt, and even though it's not something you really should be relying on, there's just kind of that reflex action when you know that the guy hits the brakes, but if there's no lights coming on and the car suddenly slows down a whole lot, it can come as a little bit of a surprise.
Drew Kittel leading the way. And his number 27, Space Monkey Racing, Creative Steel, AEM Electronics, G-Lock Brakes, Hoosier, Endurance Karting, 2004 Cadillac CTSV. Again, the native of Michigan. They put all those sponsors in there if they can, and why not? I mean, this is amateur racing, but sponsorship does go a long way, and you got to thank the guys that helped get you there. And in the case of Drew Kittel, he's got a long list of supporters, which is great to see, putting on a show for him here.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, a number of manufacturers will put up contingency programs and things so that these drivers can help pay for their efforts. It's what gets them out to a variety of different events. A number of these drivers are running the entire Super Tour of big events around the country. But for sure, just even towing all the way out here, and some of the manufacturers will offer tow money to help get them here to the big events. And these guys could not do what they're doing without those contingency programs that are put up there. I was reading some of those off the other day, and there's 4 pages worth of contingency programs being offered for the various cars.
Looks like Richardson has gotten back past Cole and up into the 3rd spot, so that pretty much moots any discussion about that previous restart because Richardson has wasted very little time. He is back in the picture for that overall podium fight here up front. Kittel taking that middle entry into the carousel, an earlier entry for Heinrichs, who drifts out to the middle on exit, and there they are in basically the same spot. Richardson dropping his right side wheels there on exit of the carousel, headed down into 7.
Yeah, and I'm watching some of the sector times now, and these guys have all gone green and or purple, which basically means personal best. Richardson actually with the quickest in the first sector there, so I'm expecting that overall lap record to drop again on this very lap here right now. But it means all these drivers that cooling off period definitely helped their efforts, and they're able to take maximum advantage of it right now. Our top 3 now pulling away from the rest of the field.
As well they should. They're the only cars on track running in the 150 bracket. Cole in 4th last time by a 152, and everyone else closer to the 2-minute mark, a couple 57s, a 59, and on down the line. It looks like McDermott earlier in the race ran a 50.6, but fast lap of the race so far belongs to Heinrichs by just a few fractions, running in that 2nd spot. That is the fastest car on the track, but the margin isn't big, and being faster doesn't necessarily mean you can make a pass. Right now, Kittel looking like he's doing everything that you need to do to stay up front with 11 laps to go.
You betcha. And where I was predicting that lap to go down, it missed it by, a couple of hundredths. So
some tremendous consistency
Oh,
though,
absolutely.
from these front guys. Not an easy thing to do, especially with the brake, with the yellow. You got to refocus yourself a little bit, get back up on it after a few laps and quite a few minutes running behind the safety car.
So if we look up at the top of the screen now, we are almost to the midpoint of the race. We did have a couple of laps of yellow. I'm watching Heinrichs, and the body language of that car looks really, really composed, where Kittel looks just like he's having a few little bobbles here and there. And so I think Heinrichs is just kind of biding his time, going to get up close, manage those tires. I would expect him to make more of an effort here, maybe in 3 or 4 laps. But at the moment, just kind of slowly work his way up top. There's no point in making a huge push on it at this point in the race.
Kittel doing a great job keeping one of the best in this class in the last couple decades behind him. 19 runoffs appearances for John Heinrichs, 14 in this American sedan class. Runner-up last year, the Clarkston, Michigan native, has 13 national championships to his name, including 5 in American sedan. We talked about the fact that he and McDermott have been ruling the roost, if you will, over the last 16 years or so. But at the moment, not a whole lot that experience can do. He's still trying to track down Kittel, who's at the front of the field. Looks like we've got a battle for 5th and 6th starting to develop. The 31 car right there in the 5th spot, that is Griffiths with Cole in the 88A. Well, that's the 20A, so 20, so that's Wheeler there in our shot, trying to get up behind Griffiths, it would appear.
Yeah, you're talking about Kittel again, our leader. Definitely trying to make amends for what had happened to him last year at Indy, where he had mechanical problems while running 2nd. He would have been a contender there, had those mechanical problems. So I'm sure those have all been exorcised, and the car is looking like it's running really, really great.
How about Jim Wheeler in this number 20? He's putting a lot of pressure right now on the back of the car in front of him. I think that's Griffiths. If my timing and scoring screen is to believe, we might want to refresh that. I'm not quite sure what it's trying to show us here, but at any rate, had a chance to chat with him earlier this weekend. He's got an old buddy of his that he's known for 40 years, Ed Sedano, known as Joe Bob, working as his crewman here this weekend. Joe Bob also flagging over the course of the weekend. So he was flagging in the mornings, crewing in the afternoon. They've known each other 40 years, but hadn't seen each other in 30. And through a mutual friend, got hooked up here. And it's been quite an impressive display here from the 73-year-old who won 9 out of the 10 races he entered this season to try and get qualified for this event. Out of Lenexa, Kansas, near Kansas City. Used to work in the film industry and actually got his start in racing by filming a commercial for a Bendix brake company. Did it at the Bondurant School, which was located here, used his leftover footage to film a commercial for Bob Bondurant. And in payment, he was telling me that Bob gave him 3 days of driving school with Bob himself as the instructor. He had no notion that he would ever go racing, but that day, all those years ago, he got the bug, and he's been racing ever since.
Wow, what foreshadowing for this moment here that we have it now.
Yeah, it looks like up front we've got a closer battle for the lead. Kittel and Heinrichs down to just 0.3 of a second the last time around. The Cadillac backing up just a little bit here the last few laps.
Just like I was talking about earlier, Heinrichs, the wily veteran, slowly making the move, reeling him in, 1 lap at a time, a 10th here, a 10th there, and then let the other guy make the mistake when you put the pressure on him.
9 laps to go. We're past the halfway mark here in this American Sedan race. Still a long way to go when we're talking about laps that are a little bit shy of the 2-minute mark. Still a lengthy race, and considering the fact that, we got a big lockup right there in front of Heinrichs from Kittel.
Yep, as I said, start putting that pressure, let him make the mistake. There's, and a little bit loose coming out of turn 7 there.
And on that shot, you could see what Heinrichs was talking about to his crew. Tom reporting a little while ago, it looks like the brake lights are on all the time. At least the left one, you can see it now, both of them in that shot. So you can see the complaint, I suppose, if you will, from Heinrichs, and it's a valid one. We got problems further back in the field.
Looks like car number 16 there, which would be Michael Thompson. That's that 87 Camaro that I was talking about earlier.
So Thompson with a bit of a spin.
Back to Wheeler on our screen again.
Wheeler running there, I think, in the 6th spot. We've got one car showing up on timing and scoring in 6th, but has not completed any laps. So we're just going to ignore that for now unless we're told otherwise.
Look at this.
Yeah.
Right on his tail now.
Good stuff at the front of this field. We thought it was going to be a heavyweight fight of epic proportions, but we got our boxers wrong.
We did indeed. And so Heinrichs getting closer and closer, and Kittel starting to make little bobbles here and there. And it may not be driver error. This may just be the tires, as we talked about. Tires starting to go away a little bit as they get too hot. It's not that the tire loses additional rubber off of it. They're just getting hot because of the way the surface works and the ambient temperatures. It is a fairly warm day today now in the mid-80s.
From what you've seen so far, we've watched these two a lot over the course of this race. Where is Heinrichs stronger than Kittel, and through that, where can he potentially make a move for the lead?
So it appears to me that the motor, the acceleration benefit is to the Cadillac. So pretty much anywhere else is going to be the place that Heinrichs is going to want to get it done. So he's going to want to do it in the twisty bits and or perhaps under braking. We did see a couple of times some braking issues there.
Last time through turn 11, which is where they're headed now, we saw some tire smoke from your race leader.
The other place that I noticed Kittel having trouble earlier was down in turn 11, the big 180 at the far end of the drag strip. He several times has had trouble there, either on entry or putting the power down on exit. And if John can set that up like he's doing right there, see how he's pulling on the inside there. Now watch, yep, there you go. And Kittel having trouble on the exit. Here he goes, he's gonna make a run. Now watch this, if he does it, he can duck right underneath him right here. Oh, chooses to take the outside line, pulling into turn 1. And ducks back in. So nice work on defending there from Kittel on that inside line. But Heinrichs showing he is much quicker there down in turn 11 and the exit thereof.
Drew Kittel's lead down under a 1/10 of a second, 0.096 seconds. That's the difference when we came to the stripe last time. Heinrichs is there, and he's making his presence felt, trying to force that mistake, but in Drew Kittel's favor, I mean, he has driven a nearly flawless race, done a great job to block out the pressure which is mounting.
Right, well, but you notice he's trying to roll on the power sooner. Every time he comes out of one of these turns and the car starts to twitch a little bit sideways, that's him rolling the power sooner, trying to get away. The problem with that, though, is every time that car twitches like that, it's sliding the rear end around a little bit more, generating a little bit more heat, and which means the tire is going to have a little bit less grip because it's going to continue to get hotter and hotter.
Heinrichs having to hustle too, though. You can see that car on the edge of adhesion as well. This is not going to come easy. Whoever is going to win this national championship, they're going to have earned it by the end of 20 laps.
No doubt, no doubt. As you said earlier, we've got a great boxing match here, but it's not who we expected, but that's just the way it goes sometimes.
Let's give Kittel a lot of credit sneaking up into the picture here, and once he was presented with this opportunity, remember McDermott with issues earlier, race leader. In the first handful of laps, McDermott with problems. One of the wheels came off at one point, literally, and his race was over really before it got started, just 4 laps into the race. And Kittel, who pounced at the very start to get past Heinrichs, that might end up being the move of the race, and he made it in the first corner.
I think you're right. McDermott had gotten a really great jump at the start. Kittel just sat right on his bumper and pulled right through, got in front of Heinrichs, and has just basically never yielded the position.
Yeah, but this thing is not over yet.
Oh, no.
Here comes Heinrichs, so close, climbing the hill here in turn 2. From the beginning of turn 1 to the exit of turn 2, you climb effectively a 10-story building. That's
right.
the elevation change for these drivers, and you do it in about 1,000 feet of road. It is a short amount of time to go up that high as Cattell locks up the right front, opens the door just a little bit. Heinrichs taking a peek. Can't do anything just yet. We'll see what he does coming into the carousel. Heinrichs taking a look to the inside. Middle of the road for Cattell. For now, Cattell able to hold him off, slams that door shut in the middle portion of the carousel. Now needs to get that big launch out headed to turn 7.
Yeah, this is where it looks like Cattell really pulls it back away a little bit. Again, he's got the motor advantage there. It's an uphill climb. He gets on the power slightly sooner than John does. But then on exit, he'll get a little bit twitchy. And John will start to pull back in. John a little smoother on the throttle there.
Up front, Cattell over Heinrichs, but boy, this thing is really heating up. We saw the big lockup a few laps ago, actually pretty early in the race for Cattell, and we've seen some lockups subsequent to that, so perhaps a flat spot, which might provide the opportunity that Heinrichs needs to try and make the move. This is about as close as he's been coming into this turn 11 hairpin. Elects to stay in line now, pokes the nose in, the door left wide open.
He's there.
And Heinrichs slides to the inside. He'll slide job his way out to the wall. And
classic move, classic move. He showed it several times prior. We saw that was the weakness of Cattell in that turn. And this time when Cattell set out a little bit wider, Heinrichs just drove right through the hole.
So now we'll see just what kind of pace Heinrichs really has. I suspect he hasn't been able to show off exactly what he's got running in traffic for most of this race. This is the first time that he's been free and clear up at the front of the field, but so far he's not been able to pull away from Cattell. Pressure remains on coming up through 3 and 3A and down into 4. Here comes Cattell again, taking a look to the inside, locks up the right front, and ultimately has to settle in a little bit behind, and now some breathing room for Heinrichs. We'll see if he can't pull away.
And in that particular shot, you could definitely see the advantage that Heinrichs has off the corner, where Cattell, as he rolls power, the car twitches there, and John just pulls away a good solid car length before Cattell gets hooked back up.
No surprise to see John Heinrichs running in this position. 20 top 5 finishes in his various runoffs appearances, including 19 podiums. So doesn't finish off the podium very often. 13 national championships, as we've mentioned, 5 in this class. From 03 to 05, he had an amazing streak at Mid-Ohio, and also led every single lap in that 05 runoffs at Mid-Ohio too. So some remarkable stuff. Completed the Triple Crown at Heartland Park in 06, won a title in 13 at Road America. I mean, the resume just goes on, and rather than go through the numbers, suffice it to say, this guy's one of the best in recent memory in this class, and still not able to pull away, though. Cattell not ready to go quietly into the night as they come around to complete 16 laps.
Part of the reason why John's car is so good is that it is a Tom Acqualandi car. So if you know that name in Phoenix Racing, you go up and see their shop, and you go see the paddock area up there where they've got a good half a dozen cars all lined up, super well prepared, professional level efforts there.
Yeah, it's a name that if you know anything about club racing, Phoenix is certainly one that comes to mind. Heinrichs, meanwhile, up front, leading by nearly a second over Cattell. Back in third, it's Richardson doing a nice job holding down that final podium position. He's 14 seconds off the race lead, while Cole runs about 6 seconds behind Richardson in the 4th spot. 5th right now belongs to Griffiths currently at this time. So we've got some good racing through the field. We saw some smoke a little bit earlier back on the front stretch, and now I think we know where it's coming from. Might be a wheel rub from the damage on the right front of the lap car that the leaders have just made their way past.
Yeah, I believe that's the case. That is, yes,
16.
car number 16, which is Michael Thompson. Yeah, we saw that car on the restart in the picture there earlier on. That damage has been there quite some time, but I think it's just now worked its way back to where it's touching the tire. And that'll self-clearance itself one way or the other. Either the plastic bits off the bumper will wear off, or the tire will go down. Hopefully it's just the bumper.
Thompson from Vacaville, California. driving a 1987 Chevrolet Camaro. A little bit off the pace at the moment, but dealing with some damage and fighting through it very admirably. Heinrichs stretching that advantage coming into turn number 11, and all of a sudden we're looking at a case where time is of the essence. If Cattell is going to get back to the front of this field, locks that front up again. We've seen that a few times, and it's one of those things, once you get that flat spot, it's only going to get worse from there.
No doubt. That's the bane for drivers. They hate when that happens. That's why you kick yourself the first time you do it, because you know you're going to pay the price for that all race long. As that tire rotates around, it will continue to find that little flat spot, just as we see right there, and he knows it. But at this point, he's only got 3 laps to go. You got to go for it. You got to do whatever you can to get close. If that flat spot gets worse, that's just the price you pay.
Heinrichs looking to add to his championship totals. Cattell, no matter what happens here, I think he has to take great solace in this good run. He was close to finishing in this exact same position last year before a mechanical issue dropped him outside of the top 20 at Indianapolis, and a nice comeback drive for him. Really made sure everyone knew he was here in this race, a guy with significantly less experience than Heinrichs in this class, and learning a lot from one of the masters of American Sedan.
Absolutely, and he's probably going to be a whole lot happier on the podium even than John. John's certainly been there before, and this is, you know, another notch in the gun and all like that. But for Cattell, particularly in light of what happened to him last year with those mechanical issues, this is going to be a great run for him. He was in the lead for quite some time. He's driven a great race. If it ends like this, he's certainly going to be elated, I would expect, to be in that position. And of course, Richardson, you know, while we've been focusing on our leaders, and he's a little bit ways back, also making a great run up to a podium position there for him. Did
want to mention Daniel Richardson, so right on cue there. 7 runoffs appearances previously for him. We talked about that a little bit earlier. 5th at Road America back in 2015 in this class. He was the American Sedan Hoosier Super Tour champion in 2017 and won the nationwide point title as well. Northeastern Conference Majors, 3-time AS champion in 15, 16, and this year in 18. He was 2nd in 2017. So a nice laundry list of accomplishments for him, and you can add a bronze medal potentially in about 2 laps time, which is no small feat. To finish on the podium in any class, no matter the car count, you have to go through great lengths just to qualify for this event. So you know the field is going to be quite good, and it's an achievement to be here in the first place, but to come home with a medal of any color of any medal, that makes a great deal of difference and is certainly a meaningful achievement.
It is. That's the thing about the runoffs. You have to qualify to be here. You can't just send in your entry money. So you've got to work hard just to get here. And for a lot of these drivers, again, these are amateurs. A lot of these drivers, just finishing the race and doing as well as you can is a great thing. Perhaps being a top 5 is what your goal is. And certainly being on a podium, that is an incredible achievement. Putting that medal around your neck. Talking to the pit reporter on the victory stand, that's a great thing there in victory lane.
John Heinrichs out in front. Again, he was runner-up last year, and trying to take that 1 spot better, add to his 5 class national championships in American Sedan, and get just that little bit closer to McDermott, who has the edge right now between the two, this rivalry of sorts, but a friendly one between the two that have been so successful over the years here in recent memory in this class at the runoffs. Hard on the brakes into turn 11, this hairpin corner. This is where he made the move, saw the opening. He saw it a couple laps earlier and backed out of it. Wasn't quite close enough, but when it ultimately came time to make the winning pass, he was fully committed, made it stick to the inside, and did everything he needed to do to get past Cattell. Now white flag, 1 lap to go. That's it, and that super well prepared car out of Tom Aquilani's shop there, getting it done here for Mr. Heinrichs. You got to have a great driver, but you got to have a great car underneath you as well. And the prep in order to get through an entire runoffs week at the front takes quite a bit of effort there. And Aquilani's shop doing a great thing. Here he comes now through turn 4. Entering turn 5 here and then into the carousel for the final time. It's been a smooth run in the last few laps, but he earned this one. Falling back to 3rd from the start. He started on the outside of the front row. Had to run in that 3rd spot for quite a while when trouble hit McDermott. full course yellow came out. That gave the opportunity for Heinrichsey to get back to the back bumper of Cattell, who had inherited the race lead, and John Heinrichsey worked him over lap after lap and finally got it done.
He sure did. And remember what we talked about during that full course yellow. Heinrichsey backing off immediately. I don't know if he's having a little fun there or what, but that was a little exciting and a little unnecessary even. But as I was saying, he ended up backing off early in that full course yellow, let his tires cool off a half a lap sooner than Cattell did. So Cattell perhaps not having quite the grip level that Heinrichsey did on that restart. So Heinrichsey able to dip into that tire bank a little sooner and get to the win.
2 more corners to go, and a national championship waits at the end of it. John Heinrichsey out of turn number 11. This left-hand bend coming to the checkered flag, looking for his 6th American Sedan national title, and John Heinrichsey has done it. Your 2018 class champion at the SCCA Runoffs in American Sedan. Cattell will finish in the 2nd spot. An inspired drive from him, finishing just 2 seconds down the road. Led a lot of this race and looked like he might be in position to grab a class win. Ultimately, we'll have to settle for the 2nd spot, but I imagine he'll be pretty pleased with that given the level of performance there. And just a little further back, we're waiting on Richardson to cross the line. Now he does so, finishing in that 3rd spot. Daniel Richardson completing the podium in American Sedan. What a race we saw. We expected a slugfest, and that's exactly what we got.
Well, we sure did, although we didn't get the one we expected, but we did get one. And that's the thing about amateur racing at this level. Almost anything can happen. There's always drama. It may not be the drama you expected, but it's always dramatic, and it's a great kind of racing. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what these guys have got to say as they head down there towards the podium and get those interviews.
Yeah, Tom O'Gorman will be waiting for our podium finishers in just a few moments. Always an exciting time to see the pure elation on the faces of the podium finishers. It just means so much to accomplish anything, frankly, at the runoffs, but a podium finish or even a national championship, that just is the ultimate, the pinnacle for North American amateur road racers. And to do it at Sonoma makes it probably all the more special because they could say, hey, we won a national title at a track where no one else in the class has done so.
That's right. And the other people that are going to be super related is the team members and the shops that put these cars together. Again, Tom Aquilani's shop putting together Heinrichsey's car. Those team members put in those long hours, and you got to give a shout out to all those folks. Being one of those folks myself, I know how that feels, and it's a really special feeling when your driver brings it home for you.
Let's complete the top 5 here, and finishing now in the 4th position, Pratt Cole. Haven't called that name throughout the race, but an impressive job by the Salt Lake City, Utah driver, making his 22nd appearance in the runoffs. He's a 3-time champion in other classes, but it's been a little while. A good run for him to end up in the 4th spot here in American Sedan, and then finishing in 5th, completing the top 5 is Griffiths. And good job, good effort on that end as well in the number 31 machine. Started in the 9th spot, so Lynn Griffiths able to move up to the 5th finishing position. An outstanding job there, as pulling into victory lane is your winner, John Heinrichsey. The window net comes down, off comes the helmet, and pretty soon we'll have Tom O'Gorman standing by to chat with your national champion. A few more minutes just to sit with his thoughts, and even through the helmet you can see just jubilation on the face of John Heinrichsey.
You bet. The sparkle in the eyes, looking up at the crew guys there. And he's been here before, so he's a little more methodical about the whole deal. But they're all special, and the most recent one is always a super special one.
Oftentimes the drivers will say winning will fuel that desire to win again. You know that feeling, you know what it's like, and you don't want to go the rest of your life without it. And for one more year, John Heinrichsey can say he's a SCCA national champion. Let's go to Tom O'Gorman with our race winner.
Yeah, that's 14 national championships now for John Heinrichsey, 6 in this class. He gets the Hoosier bracelet around the neck. But John, it started off by chasing McDermott, then Cattell, but it came to you with some patience. How was it?
Yeah, it was all about patience. I knew it was going to be that way. And I just had to work on saving the brakes, saving the tires, and still going as fast as I possibly could. And I had a feeling I'd be able to catch McDermott if I was behind him, and well, I just had to switch it and catch Cattell when he was behind, or I was behind him, and it worked out. I think he toasted his tires and brakes, and I was able to get him that way. And I guess that's what patience is all about, right?
Absolutely. I came to you with those brakes. Who do you got to thank for those?
Well, it's Hawk Brakes, definitely Hawk Brakes, Hoosier Tires, and Mobile Lubricants for keeping this in. I mean, we're running really hot when we're behind Cottrell. We're up 240, 250 degrees coolant behind Cottrell, and Mobile One did its job.
Awesome. Well, congratulations. Enjoy that extra lap.
Thank you very much, Tom. Nice work down there with our national champion, John Heinrichsey. He talked about the patience, and that's the patience that experience will give you. If you're a young Charger, you've never been there before, perhaps the temptation is to go out really strong, but he saw the big picture and elected just to wear down his opponents, and boy, it worked.
Yeah, it sure did. In fact, this, if I wanted to educate a young gun on how to manage a race, this is a textbook example of how to manage the situation to your advantage in a number of ways. Again, we saw him at the full course yellow, backing off. We saw his approach early in the race. He never turned a wheel wrong as far as sliding the car around, kept the tires underneath him, didn't overdo his braking zones, as we did see some issues with Cattell as far as locking up the brakes and things like that. Way, way more composed.
We've got our second place finisher climbing out of his race car, and Tom O'Gorman is standing by.
Yeah, congratulations, Drew. Second place here at the Runoffs. It's a heck of a start to put yourself in the hunt. How was it out there?
Yeah, it was good. I just wanted to focus on making a good, clean start to the race. Got lucky and picked up second place there. And, yeah, hope Andy's okay. That was a big one right in front of me. And great race with John. But, first of all, I got to thank everyone that's behind this car. It's it's an emotional experience. I understand why Brian got a little emotional last year when he won. Being up here, finally got a chance to thank, my wife, KZ, JB. My wife's rebuilt this transmission twice. I'm so proud of her. Just everyone, all my sponsors. Hoosier tires are awesome. G-Lock brakes, man, they hung in there beautifully all race long. Creative Steel, AEM. I'm forgetting so many people, but a big thanks to my mom and my dad and to everyone that supports me to make this happen. It's so many people behind this, and yeah, just really, really grateful.
Well, congratulations on that. And then behind me here we have Danny Richardson, third spot here in your Camaro. Put yourself in the hunt as well. Great start to the race, and then held on for that third place finish. How'd it go for you?
I went pretty well. I thought we really had a chance there. We were kind of chasing them down, and I think we were turning some faster lap times and really closing them in, and started having a couple problems with the transmission and some shifting issues, and it was kind of just hold it together and get to the end of the race.
That's how it goes sometimes, but you're on the podium. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
So plenty of happy faces amongst our podium finishers. Well done to all three of them, and indeed to all of our competitors, as we see one very happy John Heinrichsey taking the victory lap. Looks like he's got a passenger in that car as well, and
that's a fast
waiting around.
victory lap.
I was thinking the same thing. So let's take a look at some of the highlights from this race. It was McDermott from the start, but we had an accident behind. We continued green despite that. But a couple of races coming to an end all too soon. Then the big moment of the race, well, it looked like he was in control. McDermott with issues mechanically. The wheel separates from the car, and he goes on a pretty scary run. Fortunately, doesn't hit anything, but this face says it all.
It does. It really does. And he's just looking at it. It's like, what else could I have done?
And here we go. This might be the winning move, and indeed it was. John Heinrichsey able to get to the inside of Cattell there in turn number 11, and clear him by the time they exit the corner. Cattell put some pressure on for a few laps, but Heinrichsey pulled away and clinched that 6th American Sedan Championship.
Indeed. Textbook move there, textbook patience in order to enable the move. A great win from a veteran winner of the Runoffs.
Great stuff all around. A fantastic race to call. Big thanks